Well, finally, I'm getting ready to work on this van here. I'm gonna pull an engine and swap it out. This is how I set up. 2 jack stands in the back with jack support. Jack stand in the front with supporter under the wheels. Should be solid. It's not moving. It's not going anywhere. There should be enough. About 28 inches there. Underneath, there should be enough room for pulling the engine out. This side too. Next, getting ready to pull the engine out. I want to remind you before you start to work on this, make sure you disconnect the battery. Just remove the negative terminal side will be enough, because you have to disconnect the cable, the main power cable from the starter. And if you don't disconnect this, you're liable to short something if the power cable that goes to the starter touches another ground cable, ground surface. So play it safe, disconnect that. I'm gonna go underneath the van and show you guys what needs to be taken off, and in order to prepare to pull the engine down. It's not going to be a thorough video, but I'm just going to go over it real quickly. First of all, rear drive shaft, and also front drive shaft. Okay. Then we need to take out the exhaust manifold. Then we need to take out right there, front right and front left engine mount. After that, we can lower the engine down. Then later on, remove the hose here through the water pump and to the engine. To right here, these three hoses need to be removed. Then set shaft coupler just on this side, not the one in the front, just on the rear. Unplug here, oil pressure, and unplug here, oil level, and then remove the air intake right here, and remove these hoses, the air hoses, and also actually you can leave this on, but this has to be removed right here. Okay, that's a start for now. This is just an overall. I'm gonna go ahead and take this out right now. Remove the 2 engine mount. I want to show you what I pulled out from the engine. These are the parts that I need to pull in order to remove the engine. As you can see, it's not very much. It's not very many. 2 drive shaft, engine mount, exhaust manifold, distributor, ignition coil, intake tube, plastic cover, engine cover, and all the nuts and bolts that I pulled out. I just toss everything in here. I know exactly where they go, so that's no problem. And those are all the parts I need to pull out. And that's the jack I'm going to be using to support the engine when I pull it out. And let's go here. I disconnect the fuel injection line, fuel injector, all the sensors here. I disconnect them. I'm not going to pull the engine harness. I'm just gonna leave the engine harness on the van, and then just pull the engine out. So that's why I tied it right here. Okay. And let's go to the other side. And on this side, I disconnect the throttle cable. Let me just put this away right here. Okay, put it away. Inside here, I'm not sure you can see, but don't forget the ground cable, engine harness ground cable. Just disconnect that. Cold start injector, EGR temp sensor, and I disconnect the fuel line. I disconnect right here. You can also disconnect it at the fuel pump down there, but it's just longer when you do that, so I just like to disconnect here. Sometimes I can't do it here because it was too tight, and I disconnect it down there. And that's it from the top. And then from the bottom, let's go look at the bottom. As you can see, I disconnect the idle control valve. I disconnect the DPS and all these hoses, miscellaneous hoses here. I'm not even gonna explain the way what they all are, but this coolant hoses and vacuum lines, and also the intake tube. I disconnect that, and in the front here, sat shaft. I disconnect that, and water pump thermostat. I disconnect that and disconnect another coolant line from on top of the engine heater hose. I disconnect that, and then I remove the engine mount from here, and I let it sit on the oil filter. So as you can see right there, and let's go back this way. I remove the exhaust manifold. I remove the distributor. I remove the transmission oil, transmission fluid line. As you can see, I remove one end and just flip it over and hook it with the other hose, with the other line, so that it won't drip. Same as this one, just like that. And I disconnect the transmission plug, the neutral safety plug. And on this side, I disconnect the shift cable. Where did it go? Oh, it's down here. See, I disconnect the shift cable. I disconnect it here because if you could disconnect it up here, it has an adjustment on it, and it could be out of adjustment if you disconnect up here. So it's best just to disconnect down here. Okay. Of course, the drive line here, all the way to the front. The rear drive shaft to here, and I remove the nut on the transmission mount on both sides. Okay. Right now, it's pretty much ready to come out. And next I'm gonna do, I'm gonna put that transmission lift there underneath, strap it down, and I'm gonna pull it down. I want to show you what I use to pull the engine out. This is just a regular hydraulic transmission jack, but the only difference is I fabricate this platform here. This platform will allow you to receive the engine and the transmission at the same time and have it balanced pretty well, so this jack will be able to use it lifting up and down without any problem. And it just needs to be balanced nicely, and that platform there helps it to work really well. So if you're gonna use transmission jack like this one to pull your engine, then build that. It'll help you greatly and safer to work on. Well, I'm about to pull this engine down. I got it on this transmission lift here. I put a strap on it so it won't slide, and so I pull it out. It's clear already. It's clear from the top, the front frame already. And this engine is gonna come down really soon. Let me move forward a little bit. Okay, now I'm gonna bring it down. A little bit faster. Oh, hold on. This. What's stuck? Okay. Here you are. Right there. Okay. And let me go ahead and pull it out. There you go. Move this out of the way. There. Here you are. Engine's out. Not too bad, huh? I'm working at someone else's garage at home, and I think it's about 3 hours ago, and engine's out. Not too bad for being on my back. I'm gonna pay for it in pain tonight. I'm gonna need a lot of aspirin. So that's what it looks like. That's the ticket right there. The platform on the transmission jack. And today I'm going to remove the cylinder head from this block, because this block was bad. That was knocking pretty loud. And I'm gonna swap the cylinder head to another block that's good, and then I put the engine up in the van and get it going. In this video I want to show you how to remove the cylinder head. And first of all, we just got to identify what we need to remove. And first of all, this video is basically for like a beginner video, so who doesn't really have much experience on working on engine. And I can show you, even though without having much experience, I can show you how to put in cylinder head, remove and install cylinder head. So this is a beginner video, and for those who already know how to do it, pass on, because this one is not for you, and this is for beginner only. Good tea. We'll need to take out the intake manifold, which is this one here, intake manifold, and we need to take out the water outlet pipe, welcome with gasket here. Yeah. And basically I just want to show you what the engine looks like. It's not that big. So the intake manifold is the main thing we need to take out. I also want to help you identify different parts on this engine. Here's a flywheel or flex plate because it's automatic, EGR pipe and EGR, throttle body, water pump, crank pulley, water outlet elbow. So we're going to be taking out, in order to remove the cylinder head, we're going to be taking out the intake manifold, water outlet, fuel injection rail is going to come out together, and the exhaust pipe will be loose, and also the oil recirculation. So we're going to start doing that right now. If you're interested, stay with me. Let's get to work. Okay, let me grab the bucket here. Go ahead and remove the intake manifold. EGR pipe, almost out already. Okay, now we remove the water outlet pipe. Let's get that out first, because it gets in the way. Let me get him another sip of tea. I'm still trying to recover from COVID I had last week. That thing doesn't make you feel good. Okay. Let's go ahead and remove this piece out. Come on. Okay. This one comes out. Let me grab something. Paper. Plastics I can lay down here so it won't spill any coolant on it. Okay. Go ahead and fuel injector. Right. How are you, bro? Oh, you left. hot thing. This one here, we'll just pull it. Okay, I believe the intake manifold is ready to come out. Easy, huh? Okay, there. See, the intake manifold comes out and all of a sudden it's just like barely anything left. Let's check the gutter, the oil gutter out. I just threw everything in here because I'm so familiar with all the nuts and bolts and where they go. I'll find them. Valve cover gasket. There you go. Let me go ahead and I'm taking out the oil recirculation pipe because it's attached to the cylinder head. Okay. Leave it right there. Let's see, now we're gonna remove the valve cover. Okay. Right there. Nice and clean. The cylinder head is good, but just the block is bad. There's a rod knock. So the next step, I'm going to show you how to remove this. And before we do that, we have to set everything on top dead center. I'm just going to show you how to set everything on top dead center before we pull this out. Just a good practice. Doesn't matter if we're gonna throw this away or not. We actually don't. We're not gonna use this short block. We don't have to set everything on top dead center. But it's just a good practice that we do that anyway. So I'm going to show you. The top dead center, basically, the piston number 1 is on the highest point. Is the reaches the high point, and you can do that by set the mark on the crank pulley here to 0. The 0 here, there's a 3 mark here. Let me see if you can see it or not. Let me bring it closer. There's a 3 mark here on the crank pulley. We are looking to match this one with this one. Okay, it's a 0, 5, 10 degree. when this is matching with this one, the piston will be on top dead center. Well, the piston will be on top. And you can also, if you look underneath here, there's a 0 right here. This is 0, and right on top of here, you can't see it, but there should be like a groove. That groove is lined up with 0. That means, which also on top here, well, it's not exactly on right now, but I'm going to line up. When this line up with this, it'll be on top dead center. The piston on the very top position. So, and we can also verify that once we take out the valve cover. Let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to turn counterclockwise. That's how the piston turns. You see how it's a little bit hard to turn because I'm fighting the compression. If you want to make it easy to turn the piston or to turn the crankshaft, we'll take out a spark plug. Then we won't have to fight compression anymore. Okay? Toss it in there. Cool. I'm busy. Okay. Let's look at here. You see, it's almost matched up. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and turn. See, this is a groove here. That's what I was talking about earlier. It's a single groove that matches on the very bottom with the 0. Now this 3 groove here, we're using the first mark, that the one that I just put on, 0, 5, 10 degree. So we match this with this pointer. With that, like that, I guarantee the piston will be on the very top position. And if we look earlier, the 0 here should match that single mark, single groove. So on the last video, I already took out the valve cover bolt. Okay, we're gonna double check it right now. And if you look at this mark here, this should be perpendicular to this. Okay, that's how the camshaft should position. And if you look in here, there's a pin. This also match with that. And if you look here, also, I'm going to bring the camera closer a little bit. There's a double dimple on the exhaust cam. There's a single dimple on the intake cam. Maybe bring the camera closer so you can see it. Start with this. So top dead center, that matches right there. And down here, 0 should match with one single groove. I can't get low enough to show you, but take my word for it. And right here, it's a dimple right here. You see? Perpendicular. And in here, there's a little groove here. There's a dimple right, there's a pin right in front of that. It matches here. And also, the exhaust cam has 2 dimples. intake cam have one dimple. This is how you match the intake and exhaust cam. That must be done exactly the way it is, otherwise your car won't run. Okay, all that is because we got that set properly, and now pretty much it's ready to come out. Put this back here. And before we pull the intake cam out, we must take M6 bolt and put it right here. You must do this every single time before you take the camshaft out. Push all the way through, and don't forget to take it out neither once you're done. The reason this is the split gear, this split gear keeps the tension on this single gear so that it won't rattle. If you got rattle after you do head gasket, that's your problem. Okay, now everything's ready to come out, and we're gonna remove the camshaft out next. Let's double check. This double dimple matches single dimple on the intake and exhaust. A bolt right here to keep the tension on the split cam. Okay, and right here the dimple on top perpendicular to this part, and mark is 0. That's everything's on top dead center. I am going to remove the camshaft now. I'm going to make this quick. If you were to use the same block, and just replace the gasket on the center of the head, then I would go ahead and mark this nicely right here. Mark it right here. If you put the cam sprocket back exactly where the chain is marked, that's the top dead center, and your van will run. There's not too complicated, nothing complicated about it. Just go ahead and remove the camshaft. I'm going to remove the exhaust cam first because it's easiest and it doesn't require so much thinking. Let me find out my... Oh, excuse me. Taking too much time here. Go ahead and hold on. It's ready to come out already. Stay there first. Okay. Let me go ahead and grab a board. We'll lay it on here. I didn't bring my fixture to organize or this part this time because I'm away from home. But we'll Get this out. Okay. Let's go ahead and take this out for now. Oops. Now, see how I do this? This is how you crack the bolt on this camshaft. Ouch! Got my finger. That's not good. That doesn't feel good. I'm trying to get this out without having. I got this out without having to remove that. Okay, and then. Okay. Camshaft is out, and this can just simply come on. Let it take longer to take out this sprocket. There. Okay. Now, on this, we have to remove all this puck. And I forgot my magnet. That's the easiest way to remove it. Before we remove the pucks, we need to mark it, because if you happen to drop it or tip it over and we don't mark it, we don't know which one is which, where it goes, and that can give you a headache later. So I'm going to go ahead and mark it. Intake, intake, intake. 1, 2, 3, 4. Drop. Okay, you see how I mark it? Intake, exhaust. Exhaust 1, intake 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and so on. Now, we can go ahead and set this anywhere. We won't have to worry about mixing them up. Okay, next let's go ahead and this tensioner here that we need to take out first. It's in there. my hammer. I tried to use one of our tools in my hand. Tensioner. All right. And next, we have removed all this head bolt, and that can take a little while. Oh. All right, guys. This one, the cylinder head will come out, and it might take a little bit longer than I want to, but it's almost ready. My special tool, breaker bar and 12-point extended socket, and this is standing by when I need to. Let's go ahead and begin. Don't forget this tool here. Toss it right here, and with the breaker bar, I'm gonna take all this head bolts out. And the way you take it out is you just like the way you install the head bolt. You crisscross up and down and crisscross it. Okay? Like that. Alright? If you're gonna do this for sure, then you need to also use my video as a guide, as a reference, and also use the manual as well. So let's go ahead and break it loose. This is a little bit more difficult because it's pretty torquey. Do it again. It'll be easier this time. One more. You crack it loose a little at a time. This way there's no chance of warping the cylinder head. Just try to take it out evenly. I'm going to do it one more time until it's loose. Really awkward trying to show you guys video and try to work at the same time. It's not easy. Okay, now it's loose. I'm gonna speed things up. Okay, you can see now. This power tool. So they loose. Alright. Now we'll take the head bolt out. Oh! It's already completely came out, you guys. Okay. That's easier than I thought. I have no place. I'm gonna put it right here for now until I get all this head bolt out. I didn't expect that to come out. I should have left one bolt in. Alright, let me go ahead and set this like that. I need a table. I'll leave it there. Anyway, the cylinder head is out, and we'll put this. We'll put that cylinder head in this block here, because that block is bad. Alrighty? I'm gonna show you how to build pegboard, a fixture that will hold both of your cams and the sprocket and the cam caps, as well as those pucks. They're fairly easy to do. Just like I did here, these are not built yet. See? These are not built yet, but I set them here. This is exactly how I'm going to put them. Just like these. Let this thing move. that's exactly, see, I have nothing here yet, but that's where I'm gonna make holes for these. The cam bolt goes here, and I just have to, let's see, use the drill bit and drill a hole here and put cam bolt here. As far as cam sprocket, you can have it sit like this, and just use something like grinder and just grind here so you can sit. Okay. Same as these. If this is where you want it, then drill bit, drill hole, this goes in. And this one you can also slot it so this sprocket can sit there, as well as slot back here. Now for these pucks, you want it fairly tight. You want it fairly tight where this puck will sit. So if you have it lined up like that, like this, just mark it. As you can see here, see, it's got a mark there already from that. And then take a, you see, take a bit. This bit is 1 1/4 inch diameter. This, okay, and just come here and drill a hole here, drill a hole here, drill a hole here, to where all these are sit, where these will sit, and you can also have place for these. That's pretty much what you need to do, and I'm gonna do this too. Hope they will give you some idea, but it's very useful board. It keeps you from forgetting to put parts back in the cylinder head. So build yourself one. I'm gonna show you how I prep the block before I put the cylinder head and the head gasket in. The idea here is make sure that all of the little tiny debris, microscopic debris that sits on this surface, it completely eliminated. First things first, get a good scraper. Get a scraper. As you can see, I already prepped this block. This block is ready for cylinder head to go back in. But I just want to go through the process so I can show you, so you have an idea. And a scraper, you just go scrape everything here. Everything all around, and then after that you want to blow it out, and then you also want to use this to chase the thread where the head bolt, new head bolt's gonna go in. I use the old head bolt and I put a slot here. Okay, and basically run it through it a few times, just like that. And then you do all that, all 8 holes. Okay, once that's done, and you scrape, and then you clean it up again. Then we'll use the long block, 150. Use a good long block, and then basically you just run the long block back and forth, this way and this way. Okay, like I'm doing here. Back and forth, back and forth. And you catch back here, you catch back here. Like here it's not as important because there's no pressure here. But from here on, it must be perfect. Must be perfectly flat. And if you want to, you can use the shorter one to go around the corner. Okay. And then use the long block, and then you work your way back and forth. Like I said, I already did this block here. So this
ก็ขอนี่ไปสั่งกระโดดได้แต่
ไม่ค่อยเซียนนะค่อยเฮ็ดฟิล์มเฮ็ดวิดีโออย่าฟาวอลเด้อแล้วค่อยเสร็จวิดีโอ My mom interrupting me during my work. I'm gonna tell her to leave. No, I'm not gonna tell my mom to leave. She's 93 years old.
อันนี้เจ้าที่มันอย่างนี้
And then the last step, use solvent. Basically, oh, before you do that, make sure you blow all this hole. Blow all the debris inside here completely, and make sure they're gone. Because if you don't, those debris, this is a water jacket, and those debris is gonna mix with water and then go clog things up. And then the last thing, we'll wipe it down. Okay? Wipe it down. And that's it. This thing is ready for a cylinder head gasket and a new head. Hi guys, back again. This time I'm gonna show you how to prep the cylinder head before we put it back in. This cylinder head is a good cylinder head. It came from an engine that was knocking, which I pulled out from this van recently. So the cylinder head is still good. And I'm just gonna prep it good enough so that I can just put this straight in without having taken it to machine shop. Ideally, I would take it to machine shop every single time and have them resurface, but this cylinder head was never overheated, and then so I'm assuming that it still be good. And I also use the straight edge and measure from the end to end and use the light on one side to make sure that this head isn't warped and it's perfectly straight head. So I'm just gonna clean it up and put it back in, and I'm gonna show you how to clean it right now. Before anything else, well, I just want to make sure show you that this cylinder head already been cleaned by me. I'm just gonna go through the process how I did it, so you can do it too. And I also clean up all these valves, all the carbon buildup between valves here. I just use a really short, you know. I just use a really soft wire brush so that I'm just gonna I concentrate only on these, not out here, because you don't want to damage here. Just want to get all this debris out. And then you use a pick. Make sure that you run through each end on the end of this. Okay, make sure there's nothing stuck in between there. And I already did that. And then we'll blow it. Okay. And then I use my block. Slowly run back and forth. Like I said, this cylinder head is good. I use a straight edge and measured already, and it wasn't overheating, so it's not it won't be warped at all. I just need to clean it up so we can put it back in. And just have to do it really back and forth like this. Okay, and go back this way, back and forth, and then circular motion. All the way to the end and all the way back. You don't want to just muscle it in because you're gonna dig a hole and make it uneven surface. You don't want that. You just let the sandpaper does its work. And once you did that, it should be good to go. Solvent. Make sure it's totally oil free, dirt free. Okay, and you also want to do the surface here too, the surface here, and clean them up afterward. Okay. And this one should be ready to go on that. Let me show you what we're gonna do. The short block is clean. So the head is prepped. All the parts are here ready to go in. And I'm gonna show you. We're gonna do this together. I'm gonna show you to put the cylinder head in there. Okay? Let's do it. Okay, let me put my gloves in. I use these gloves because it protects my hand, not just for grease, but sometimes you get scraped and this protect it. So next thing, the first thing first, brand new cylinder head gasket. Okay, and then I'm going to grab this. So I want to make sure that everything's ready. Oh, by the way, on the end of this has its own silicone here, so you don't. Some people was asking me, I think on my YouTube question, asked me if they should put silicone in there. You don't need to. So the head is ready to go, as is right out of the box. Okay. And straight in. Just like that. Put a little bit of oil. Put a little bit of oil on the edge so that next time if it needs to be removed, it can. It's not going to be next time. In this engine's done, it's not going to be next time. I won't take it out. Someone else can handle it. But I'm just making it job easier for that person if they had to do it. Okay. I'm gonna speed things up by using my impact. Otherwise, it's gonna twist and twist forever. You see how I sort of go up and down and crosswise? Every head gasket work needs to be done that way, and I've done quite a few videos on it, and I've always done that way, and the manual always recommend you should do it that way too, because there's less chance of the head being warped, and you need to tighten the gasket and make the two surfaces go down and meet, flatten the gasket evenly, so there's less chance for the blown head gasket next time. We are going to torque it down 29 foot-pound. Okay. First of all, I'm not going to go straight to 29 foot-pound right away. I want to make sure that it's all even down first, evenly tight first. Let's bring it in a little bit. $29 foot-pound. Double check it again. There. That's it for the torque spec. Let me go ahead and put this two front one in first. Okay, so we finished 29 foot-pound torque. Next two sequence. Well, very next thing, I need to mark the top of the bolt. Very top of the head bolt. That we're gonna need that for reference on the very next two step. Very top, not side. Let me show you. Okay, and mark it very top there, and then we're gonna use the pry bar on the next two steps. I'm gonna wait until the paint dries, Next two steps, I'm going to use a long pry bar and go through the same sequence like I did when I torque it down, but 90 degree on each of the head bolt. And each of the head bolt do 90 degree, finish the first 90 degree, and then come back and start it all over on the second 90 degree. And eventually, when I finish with the second sequence, the paint mark from the top should be on the bottom, should be on the opposite side, and that's all you need to do as far as torquing down. Now I'm going to do 90 degree torque down twice, so that these paint mark will go on the bottom, 180 degree from it now, and we'll be finished with the tighten down sequence of the torque of the cylinder head bolt. Okay, let's start right here. Remember, crisscross left and right. Okay, one more 90 and we're done. I apologize for having my knee on the way. I can't get rid of it. That's it. The cylinder head is tight. You can see there 180 degree from when it started it. Okay, we're good to go. I'm going to put everything I have here in here where they belong and set it up so that the engine will be ready to run. Okay, stay with me, we'll do this together. Maybe. Hopefully you'll learn something. Intake side, we'll put the pucks in the intake side. Exhaust pucks. Now put in the intake cam to try to put it so that this pin here is straight up. Be sure when you put the cap in, the arrow, you see the arrow is pointing toward the front. Number one, number two, and the exhaust cam. Make sure the two mark here match with one mark here. Beat that out. Okay, let's go ahead and tighten it down. I'm gonna use my impact But I'm going to set it real low, just so that I can speed things up. Now, that's not done yet. I have to torque it down to 12 millimeter, 12 foot-pound. It's not clicking yet, because I want to make sure that everything is down at the... Okay, now it's clicking. Let me double check. It's really tough to work on very limited resource when you're out of town. Put the sprocket in the cam. Okay. Let me give you a reminder. Okay, let me bring it here. You see, I put a mark on the chain here where it matches this mark, and also this mark here, still here. I put the sprocket back on the chain exactly the same spot I pulled it out. And back here, 2 mark on the exhaust cam and 1 mark on the intake cam. We got that right. Okay, now put this back in. I'm going to tie this down to 65 foot-pound. Yeah, 65 foot-pound. This must come out. This, as you remember, I put this bolt here to keep the split cam in tension, in the proper tension with the single sprocket. Okay. And completely one full circle should come right back to exactly the same like when I first had it. Let's double check. First, check this. 2 mark on the exhaust cam still matches 1 mark. And that is still lined up. And this here is perpendicular to this. The timing is exactly where we want it. This engine will run. It will definitely run. So, and next I'm going to And next I'm going to go ahead and put the tensioner down here. Put a little bit of I'll go ahead and do that on my own time, but basically I just want you guys to know how I put this together. The timing is right, and this should create compression by now, right now. So, and the rest I'm just gonna go ahead and put intake and distributor and everything else in, and it should look like an engine that's ready to start. So I installed the distributor, installed the valve cover, I installed the water pump and oil filter, the oil filter housing assembly, and also installed the starter. Now, next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and put the, oops, excuse me. Let's get the camera in the right angle here. I'm going to go ahead and finish up, assemble the rest of the engine. So we have this here. Actually, I'm going to put this in first. This is the intake manifold. Once the intake manifold is in, it looks complete. So we'll go ahead and do that first. Okay. There, intake manifold. Make sure all this grommet here stays in place before you put in. Intake manifold and fuel injector, and then water outlet water outlet assembly, and see, it looks complete now. Let's go ahead and finish it up. I'm gonna do the water outlet first. Once I'm done, I'll show you in the end what I just did. Sure. Then the intake manifold. Before I do that, I'm heavy now. Before I did that, I want to make sure that I put this in. I'm tired, so I can't talk too much. It's been a long day. Distributor coolant hose. Here. The injector rail. Okay. This in. If the injector rails are in, is in. Put the spark plug wire in here. I'm just reusing the spark plug wire because, for now, because I haven't had time to run to the dealer to get a new one yet. We were pretty much completed. I just installed the intake manifold here, the fill rail, the water, the outlet hose, and looks pretty completed. Let me go ahead and clean the debris off the floor so the card will not get stuck, and wish me luck. Let's do it together. Checking, usually the front pulley is lining up. You want the front pulley to line up with the crankshaft pulley, and then after that we'll lift it up. Here we go. I'm going to move it forward a little bit. Hopefully it'll go forward straight. Lift it up a little bit more. Let me see. Oh yeah, I need to go up a little bit more. Okay, we are almost there. Almost there. Okay guys, he's hung. Now the jet's coming down. That's it. The engine is up. Okay, the engine is up. Of course, this is only beginning. I still have a lot of work to do yet. Almost done. Look what I got left. Put in the spark plugs and then we'll try to start it. Let me show you. This is the final step. Look. all the parts that were here all over the floor are gone. Nuts and bolts are empty on those bins because they're all here. They're all back here, all in. And now we're gonna see if it's gonna start. It should start, right? Because I've done everything right. Why wouldn't it? Like I've always done. I crank with, I got oil in, I got coolant in, so I'm gonna crank it. That's how I feel the compression. Don't worry, the spark plug tube is like this deep. Piston is not gonna hit my hand. I'm doing that because I want to get the oil to circulate inside the engine, and also get the fuel to circulate the fuel up to the fuel rail. So when we start, it's gonna crank and start. Hopefully right away. I don't see why this wouldn't start because I've done everything right. I think so. When you do everything right, everything just should fall into place and it should start. Okay, last thing. There goes my light. Did I ever tell you that no matter what kind of light I've ever used working on a mechanic, they're pretty much useless. Now, moments of truth. Oil coolant. Okay, let's do it. A little shaky because it still has to warm up. At least it started out. Warm up, everything will run smoothly. It's the first time it runs, so it's going to take a little bit of time. Did you ever have any doubt that it would not start? 3 days work between videotaping and doing this takes a lot of time, but it still takes 3 days. This is running. Maybe I like it. I hope you guys learned something from here. At least some idea of what to do. I know I'm not working in a very ideal environment or shop. I'm just working on the ground. Use whatever I can get. Do whatever I can. But still, try your best. Try my best. So, did you ever have any doubt that it would not run or it would run? Believe it, baby.